Every listing tells a story, but stories aren't meant to be consumed through spreadsheets. Stories are visual. Stories are in this kind of vertical format now where we're all going through and we're seeing this content.
What's going on, world? This is your girl, Marky Lemons-Ryhal, and this year I am the MC of the IOI Summit Pitch Battle. Last year, I was actually one of the pitch battle judges. But this time I get to talk it up and chat it up. And guess what? They went through hundreds of applications and they had to narrow it down to 12 people. And guess what? I get to tell Cole. He told me I don't have to call him Coleton. I can now call him Cole. My boy, Coleton Boyer, is one of those companies that has the opportunity to present in the pitch battle for his product Tuesday. What's going on, Cole?
Hi, Marquis. Excited to be with you. Excited about IOI. Excited about Tuesday.
Excited about Tuesday. Now, I want you to tell people your story because I was watching a video and one, I love the candor, but the honesty and how you were able to pivot. So tell people about your real estate adventure.
For sure. So about 10 years ago, I moved from North Carolina to Newport Beach, California, with big dreams to start a career in luxury real estate. And, it's a grind. So I moved in with grandma for a few months. I got my license, started door knocking, cold calling expireds, holding open houses. And it was tough because I wasn't a local to the area and I didn't have answers to questions. And out of the gate, I was struggling. So to make a little extra scratch, I also worked as a transaction coordinator for a top producer at the brokerage I was in. And just in that brokerage in Newport, looking around, this was 2014. And I was noticing that even the busiest agents that had the sickest listings were really just doing basic photography for their marketing. And I sensed an opportunity there. And so I got one of the first drones and a Matterport camera when they were brand new. And I started doing these property marketing packages just, to make a little money and to be out in the market and be out in these listings and to get more plugged in. But there was so much demand for property marketing at that time that I actually hung it up as an agent with 0 transactions in my career. And, it's hard out here. And I know a lot of agents who get their license and they struggle. And I've experienced that firsthand. And for me, I have a creative streak that runs deep. I love marketing. I love telling stories. And I just felt much more at home marketing these listings and working on this video media. I mean, that's like what really gets me going. And I kind of just discovered that through this process. And from there, just producing all this content, people started to ask me about websites, and I got into building custom websites and launched my own creative agency. It was called Vantage. And we were doing these really high-end packages for agents and building them websites. And eventually there was enough demand that I built a website software platform. That's called PropCard. And that's what I was working on up until I started with Tuesday. But the problem with websites for agents is even the most beautiful, powerful website in the world, you set it up and then you kind of forget about it a little bit. IDX search, it's kind of a thing of the past. Clients are on Zillow more and more these days. And the idea that they're going to go to your website as an agent and have this search experience there. So it kind of just becomes this like beautiful digital business card for an agent. And I wanted to work on something that would make much more of an impact in agents day to day, something that would positively impact agents. And for me, like I said, I'm a licensed agent. I'm 3rd generation. And unlike a lot of people in my generation, I love agents. I want to build for agents. I want to do things that make agents more successful. And I want to build tech that makes their lives better. I don't want them to go away. Even though we're in this kind of scary moment for the industry right now where there's so much conversation about that.
So I tell agents all the time that selling real estate is a sales and marketing position. period. And everybody's like, well, I get to build this relationship. Yes, after you've implemented marketing, sold them on something. And then, you do get to build this fabulous freaking relationship, but there are numerous steps that come before that. One thing that I love about you is my son, Skylar, he's a second generation realtor. You're third generation. My son, Skylar, though, is a sixth generation entrepreneur. And the fact that you were doing Matterport videos 10 years ago puts you ahead of most agents, because we still have agents who won't embrace that technology. Actually, I've worked for Matterport where did I work for them? At Inman, because they had a Matterport room, right? And there is a fellow real estate educator who I remember seeing coming out to California. We were teaching together, and he talked about the demand, right, for all of the visual elements that you're talking about. And so it might have been 10 years ago, I purchased a drone. I brought it home. I looked at it. And then I realized I had to figure out how to fly the drone. And I said, you know what I said to myself? I said, that's not my focus. Take the drone back and get your money back, right? It was one of the better things that I did, because I think that you need to be passionate. Like, that's a niche inside of the industry. So you were already an innovator, right? You came into the industry. You understand that we need more visual elements, that you built a successful agency doing this for other real estate agents. And then you realize that most websites are stagnant. So we put that IDX feed on there, and we never come back to that website. And we hope that people come there, but we're not marketing it. Tell me about Tuesday, because it was, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So tell me all about Tuesday.
Okay. So I knew I wanted to work on something that would make an impact with more agents. And so I kind of set this mantra for myself, which was every agent, every day. What can I do that will make an impact with every agent every day? And that's a high goal. That's a lofty, lofty goal. And really, as I surveyed the landscape of technology and industry dynamics, what I realized was there's only one thing that agents are really doing every day, and that is checking the MLS. That's knowing the market. And so I started to talk to agents about that. Hey, how do you MLS? And their feedback was loud. And what I learned was there is a void in the MLS experience. So what does the MLS experience look like for the average agent day to day? Well, it's pretty much, I'm sorry, go on.
I was getting ready to say something. Now,
Yeah, no, please.
As a keynote speaker, our brokerage has roughly 200 agents. So I don't check the MLS every day. But let me tell you what I have been doing lately.
Yeah.
Because I'm so in love with artificial intelligence, I have been checking the MLS every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming into the MLS to look at expireds, to look at canceled, and then I'm going over to Zillow to look at for sale by owners, only because I've come up with the system that I can convert them substantially higher, because I've come up with the value add, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess it's contingent upon, what that campaign, but we're always going in there, generally being very, I would say hyper-local focused. Absolutely. On, do they have 2 flats over here? Did any condos become available over there, right?
Yep.
And for those who are doing campaigns, and they're checking those expireds, those canceled, things of that nature. But what have your studies shown?
Well, no, you've got it exactly right. And agents all use the MLS different ways. And when you're talking about using the MLS to generate AI-powered conversations off of expireds, Marky, you are way ahead of the curve, and good on you there.
Well, thank you.
But just zooming out, right? More generally speaking, an agent's job is to just know the market, right? To know what's going on. You're a hyper-local expert. And when a consumer comes to you, you need to know the market backwards and forwards. And the best place to do that is on the MLS, because there's data there that you don't get on Zillow and elsewhere. So the MLS experience for agents today, well, what does it look like? For me, talking to these agents, what I heard a lot of was it's basically sitting post-COVID, sitting at home alone on a computer, looking at what really looks like a spreadsheet, just lots of lines and lines of data, and checking nonstop saved search email that you might set up for yourself or that you might set up for a buyer. But come on, it's 2024. Who wants to sit on a desktop computer? Who wants to look at spreadsheets? And who wants more email? Nobody I'm talking to. So I started to ask, it's okay, you're on there, and you can keep up with it on there a little bit, right? This is where we work. This is where we live and breathe now, right?
90% of content consumed is from the palm of the hand. No, I don't want to be at this desktop.
You don't want to be at the desk. You're speaking my language, Marquis. So I started to ask this question. Well, what if there was a better way to MLS? What would that look like? And so I started to talk to agents and ask this question of, well, what apps do you use? What do you love to use? What fills you with joy? And the answers were the same across the board. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter. And so I started to think about, well, what do these have in common? Well, first of all, like you just pointed out, they're all mobile apps. They're designed for phones from the ground up. Secondly, they're based on a feed. So you don't go and search when you open up Instagram. You can, but the primary experience is to just check out your feed, scroll. Exactly. When you open up TikTok, it's not this lean forward, let me punch in what I'm looking for. It's a laid back, let me just catch up with what's going on. So they're mobile, they're based on a feed, and they're social. They bring people together. They create community. So I started to think about that community in real estate. And I realized what that meant to me. It took me right back to 10 years ago when I'm a brand new agent in the industry at my brokerage's Tuesday morning meetings. This is where we would all come together and talk and banter. There's camaraderie and culture and vibes and also a little bit of ego and a little bit of side eye. Look at that new listing. Oh, I can't believe she lost that one. Wow, they had to cut the price that much. It's just the vibes of our industry. And so for me, what I wanted to create was a way to bottle up that Tuesday morning meeting and to deliver it with the ease of your Instagram feed and your TikTok feed, but to power it with the data that comes straight from the MLS. No more spreadsheets, just an Instagram for the MLS. So you follow areas, like for example, I follow Newport Beach and Costa Mesa and Irvine because that's what's in my hyper-local sphere. And then I can also follow other agents. So if I want to just keep up with, hey, that's my competitor. Hey, that's my gal that sits next to me in the office. And when I open the Tuesday app, I land in a feed of listings. Everything I need to know. So, hey, this listing expired. This one had a price change. This one's coming on open house. Our goal is for Tuesday to be the first thing agents reach for in the morning. Just like they can catch up on their social network and their Instagram feed, they can catch up on their market in a simple, beautiful social feed. That's Tuesday.
That's Tuesday. Okay. And so Tuesday, I set it up. I follow areas. Is that going to be based on city, zip code?
Yeah, you can go as big or as small. Yeah, as small as your MLS allows. So for example, some MLSs enforce like subdivisions. So if you want to go that zoomed in, you can. And above that, you have like MLS area. That's more like, slightly bigger zones. And then postal codes where you might have multiples of those. And then cities. And generally speaking, city is like the biggest unit that an agent is going to care about. And we encourage people to just zoom out. Like, yeah, if you want to follow a subdivision, totally, you can absolutely do that. But just following, a larger area or a city, It's fine because we're in this low inventory environment and you need to know the market. You need to know what's going on. Hey, this one came on down there. Hey, this one's had a price change. For agents, knowing the market right now is hard and boring. It's looking at spreadsheets, and it should feel like catching up with your friends. So we put the market into a vertical social feed, just like TikTok or Instagram.
So would an agent now be required to do double input, or will the feed from the MLS feed into Tuesday?
Yeah, so the coolest part is that everything that's on Tuesday is just straight from the MLS. So the nice thing about that is you don't actually have to, input listings on Tuesday. There's no way to do that. You just put it in the MLS the same way you always have for the rest of your career. No extra work. This is just a consumption experience where it's like, hey, I just want to bust out my phone and just swipe through market activity and keep up with what's going on. And even cooler than that is for each of these listings, and I know your listeners won't be able to see, but the listing agent and the buyer agent are both shown. And when I tap on the listing agent, I can just go to her profile and see all her transactions and her contact info. And this is just MLS data. She's never signed up for the app. She's never used it. All we're doing here is just rendering this MLS data that we all have access to through Matrix and Paragon and Vesta Plus and these more traditional platforms. But we're rendering it in a way that's fun and familiar, something that takes zero training to get started with. It's just like Instagram.
So what I think would be interesting when I'm going in to the MLS and I'm doing the expireds, canceled, and now looking at the for sale by owners outside of the MLS, what I've come to realize is that most properties that have expired lack visual appeal. Either they don't have enough, they have poor quality photos, don't have enough photos, or they lack virtual staging. I'm going to tell you right now, without a doubt, that's going to be 75, 80% of them every single
Big
time.
three, yeah.
The other ones are going to just be overpriced listings, right? And so with 75%, there's something that can be done with that. What I'm hoping and thinking about Tuesday is that agents, for the first time in a consumption way, would truly be able to see this for themselves. So in the spreadsheet, right, I got to go and click on it. And this is how I'm doing research. This is how I'm able to tell this information.
Research. Perfect word.
But most agents aren't in research mode per se. They're not going deep. They're not looking for that common thread. I'll call it the probability of something occurring between 0 and 1. So for me, if I want to know the true cause of expires, I got to get into statistics. I need to see the probability of something occurring between 0 and 1. What I can tell you is most of the time it's because of the photos, right? And then the rest of the time they could have great photos, but they lack staging, right? This is what I'm just saying. This is the common thread.
Totally.
And so now agents in a Instagram environment can really see how their competition is lining up against them and what they're lacking. Like, hopefully it will bring a sense of awareness that, hey guys, the reason the top producing agents are top producing is because they're doing this. The reason the luxury agents are luxury agents is because they're doing this. Because what I've noticed definitely on Instagram is I could tell you what people do better than me, right? And things that I do better than them. And here will be an example. There's an engagement coming up. And they told me who beat me out for the engagement, right? So instantly I'm like, what? Now, mind you, I shouldn't even be mad because we're both probably in the top 10 speakers for real estate events.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. Right?
Yeah.
So I go and I'm like, let me go see what this person got going on. And this person definitely, even though I put out a lot of video, they are more consistent in their video output, and their Instagram count has grown substantially faster than mine has, right? And I said, oh, Mark, you're gonna have to do better, because this is one of the reasons that this competitor, even though they're probably they are in the top 10, it was just the fact that I knew why I didn't get the job, right? So now real estate agents, right, those who are practicing, will know. They'll be able to see, right, more visually, as opposed to that spreadsheet, what it is that they're lacking and why they're ending up expired or canceled.
Every listing tells a story. If it's a successful transaction, you know the content was good, the price was right, it worked out. If it expires, you know, should have done virtual staging, 200 grand off on the price, you know. Every listing tells a story. But stories aren't meant to be consumed through spreadsheets. Stories are visual. Stories are in this kind of vertical format now where we're all going through and we're seeing this content. So I love the comparison where you're saying, you know, hey, my competition, this is what they're doing, and I need to shore up what I'm doing. That gets right at the heart of what, you know, I want agents to do. My goal for the industry and my heart for the industry is that a rising tide lifts all boats. And that by introducing listings in this more visual format, we can create a culture of, I don't know, call it visual accountability. Do your listings look beautiful? Is your copy well written? Are you making the effort that you need to make? I mean, it's a tough time in the industry right now. Cooperation and compensation is the traditional definition of what makes the MLS work. And compensation, not here, not anymore. And so now we're left with this cooperation as the bedrock of the MLS. And what that means is agents are going to have to work together to do better. And unfortunately, when we look at the listings that we all see on the MLS, we all see them. Oh, what are you doing? You took the photos on your phone. You didn't wipe your lens off. The copy's in all caps. It's like, we all, you know, we got to be honest about it, right? Like, we've all seen it.
And let me be clear, that what you just said is true, which is why I'm looking at these spreadsheets, right? And I'm clicking on it and I'm like, okay, 5 photos, 9 photos. I can already tell you that's going to be a lack of photos when some of your MLSs offer unlimited photos and most of them will at least go up to 50. Well, if you don't have 50 different photos, you're not competing with the listing that tends to have 50. And so I started looking, I said, okay, lack of photos, lack of photos, lack of photos. Oh, here's 139 photos, lack of staging. Oh, here's 75 photos. Ooh, lack of staging. However many photos it was, right? Yeah. And that is the common thread. So what's funny about what you just said, every time that I'm looking at my competition, I probably shouldn't tell people this. I tend to go to Instagram.
Yeah.
I want to know what are they doing and posting on Instagram. But I want you to be clear. I'm looking at Facebook, LinkedIn, and I'm also looking at YouTube. And the reason is because I pride myself on being the best of the best. So which one of these channels do I need to shore up on, right? My LinkedIn and my Facebook is going to be hard to beat me. But that Instagram, a couple of them can still outperform me on that good old Instagram. So I'm looking at this because it's important, but it's visual.
On the intro call yesterday, you mentioned, which this is the IOI intro call with all the teams. You mentioned agents need to be creating vertical video because it's this visual medium. It's kind of the world we all live in now, right? And it's funny, I was just talking to an agent and they said something like, I'm so tired of agent Instagram, right? It's this kind of competition and who has the listings? It's like posturing and it's, you know, and look, everybody's selling themselves. Everybody's got to make their living. But what I'm most excited about is we're kind of getting back to business, right? We're the MLS. We're just data. And so instead of this kind of posting and peacocking and saying, oh, look at me, I'm dressed in my suit, I'm in this killer listing, which, you know what? There's a place for that. Go tell those stories visually. I encourage that. And agents that are successful on Instagram, some of the hardest working people I know, and people that have really grabbed that medium and taken it for what it is, are some of the most successful people I know in the industry. But where Tuesday fits in is more know your market. It's not about appearances. It's about expertise. And knowing your market, keeping up with what's going on, keeping up with those expireds, keeping up with, hey, this one just came on around the corner from my seller. I need to tell them about that. You shouldn't have to go mining for that research in spreadsheets, like you said. You should be able to just sit back, have a cup of coffee, roll over in bed in the morning, swipe through the 6 listing changes you need to be aware of, and get on with your day. We live on these devices now. We live on them. But for some reason, the MLS experience lags behind on mobile. And we're just trying to come at it. It's like you said, Instagram. It's where you go, right? It's kind of the core. It's kind of the at least for the real estate industry right now. It's out in front of TikTok for sure. Facebook's gone a little bit by the wayside, I think. LinkedIn's still really strong. But Instagram is just that visual medium where we're all just going, we're spending time, and we're consuming content. And so instead of reinventing the wheel, we just said, let's take a look at what works. Let's take a look at what agents love to do. And we're just going to put the MLS data they need right in that same format.
What I will say, following with Instagram, and I don't think that a lot of real estate agents realize this, which is the true value of the MLS content. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And if they have 1 second of video, 1 second of video is worth 30,000 words. 1 minute of video is worth 1.8 million words. And it is what consumers are attracted to. So in order to sell properties faster and get your sellers top dollar, then you need to have these visual elements, right? But what I like that you also demonstrated through a video is the ability to share, the agent's ability to be able to share that content with their clients.
Just a common use case, right? Agents see something on the MLS they care about, and they might email it to their client right now. They might go find it on Zillow and send it to their client. And that's kind of impersonal. And it just, the nice thing about Tuesday is it's an agent product. It's exclusive. We want it to be for agents. We never want consumers to be logging into Tuesday. We're all about agents, any more than a consumer would log into Matrix. And so, yeah, you're totally right. That visual sharing, that's key for us. And so, I'm excited to double down on that as we go forward. And, our goal is just simple and beautiful, just like Instagram. No, you don't have to sit down with someone and say, here's how you scroll your feed. Here's your profile. These are just things that we understand now. And unfortunately, so much real estate tech that I see is complicated dashboards and, steep learning curves. And those learning curves are going to dissuade many agents from picking up new products. And it's unfortunate. My prior company, PropCard, it has this great dashboard where you can administer your website and make listing presentations. But at the end of the day, it's another dashboard. It's another tool where we wanted to build something fun, something delightful. The industry's at this kind of scary moment, and we wanted to really bring something that could make agents happier and have a better time keeping up with the market. And it's kind of a zag. I'm not hearing a lot of positivity from the industry right now. And that's really kind of our North Star.
Well, let me give you some positivity. According to, I owe somebody a steak dinner because according to Dr. Lawrence Yoon yesterday, we are over 1.5 million Realtor members. So people are still coming into the industry. And what I've told my fellow real estate agents, we've made this occupation look so sexy that we can go put a yard sign in, and then 3 weeks later, we into loan. That everybody wants the opportunity. They don't know what we're complaining about. And guess what? They'll never know, because when they come in and start practicing real estate, they will have to adjust to those new rules and regulations. So there are people who want our job every single day, and they're still coming into this industry. Because I'm a big social user, because I definitely love Instagram, I am logging into the MLS now more than ever, only to find a solution, right, for expires canceled. I could definitely see how this could become that tool that real estate agents will want to see. But I'm also realizing how the data is going to be presented should also be an eye opener to them on how they should present any property to remain competitive because they will now be inside of a system that all of their competitors will be inside of. It won't be a spreadsheet. You won't have to click on another link. You will see if that person has the maximum amount of pictures based on the little circles at the bottom, right? And now they can visually see how they're lacking in serving their clients. And now they have the opportunity to increase their value add by one, adding more content to the MLS, right? But then seeing how their competitors stack up inside of that local marketplace. How does a real estate agent sign up for Tuesday?
So we have to go through the MLSs. We're rendering MLS data. So a big plank of our business is to have really good relationships with MLSs and to focus on making the data accurate, fast, and we don't want to miss stuff, because if there's data missing, people will go back to the spreadsheets. So that's our ground truth. Right now, we've presented to MLSs across the country. We're 100% focused on shipping the app to agents, but say CRMLS, where we're located and we're in the process of talking to them about Tuesday. Any agent in CRMLS will be able to download the app in the App Store and get started instantly. You just sign in with your phone number. We have the members, list of all the members that are in the MLS. And so if your phone number is in there, and if you're an active agent in the MLS, if you pay your dues and you're up to date, then we just signed you in automatically. All your listings are there. Your headshot might even be there if it's already on the MLS. So the nice thing is you don't have to do a lot of setup. You put in your bio and we get your contact info from the MLS and you're kind of off to the races. And what's really cool in the onboarding is we look at your transactions that you've done and we suggest the areas and agents that you should follow based on where you've transacted and who you've transacted with.
I like that, building stronger. Because at the end of the day, cooperation does not equal compensation, never has, and definitely will not in the future, right?
Exactly.
However, there are real estate agents in the Chicago marketplace that when I would see their name, when I was still out here every single day, I would be excited to do a deal with them because we had talked before, we had done a deal before. And so at the end of the day, your reputation as a real estate agent is important. If you have good follow-up, if they text you, email you, what's your response? And I don't think that real estate agents think about that enough. When you have a buyer for a property, if you have not been a professional agent, that listing agent, if they've experienced you before, will not want to send their sellers through that. Okay. So reputation is key for consistent collaboration, right? Collaboration, cooperation, and for you to be compensated in the future. And also staying up to date with these different tools, but visual elements are also going to be very important. And so they just go into their local MLS, or we're going to add a call to action here, Cole. Do you need them to reach out to you if they're somewhere in the country that would love this tool in their local MLS?
So right now, our website, we just want people to go there and sign up with their email address, and we'll keep them posted. My email's right there on the website. I would love to hear from people that are interested in Tuesday. We'll have more to share on the site in coming weeks before IOI, certainly. But for right now, I would love it if people would go to ontuesday.com and punch their email addresses. And if you'd like, reach out to me. Our goal is to get into the top MLSs all around the country. We had a great conversation with MRED at NAR mid-year. I hope we can do a deal with them and we can bring Tuesday to all you guys.
Well, hopefully you can come to MRED, which you just so happen to know is my MLS of the Chicago Association of Realtors, one of the largest MLS as a regional MLS. And look, I would love for our agents to be able to try out Tuesday inside of MRED. So we got to keep our fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, that's right. We're working on it.
Cole, I want to thank you, but I want everybody to go over to ontuesday.com so that you will have the opportunity as a real estate agent to explore this new visual option that is going to also be hyper local, tell you what agents to connect with and what areas might be of interest to you. And Cole, I will see you in Chicago at the 2024 IOI Summit. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having me on, Markeith. It was a pleasure.